Cleanse and clear your space.
You guys have to let me know if any colorful characters start doing anything behind me. Yeah, I kind of feel like it might happen. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's getting dark and I thought they can't really tell what's going on. What camera am I looking at if I talk to a camera? If I talk to a camera, which one would it be?
Cleanse and clear your space.
Host Alyson Charles, aka RockStar Shaman. Thank you. I want to thank everyone here at Doing Living Marketplace and everyone at home. Hello. Oh, New York City ambiance is already greeting us. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to have this setting for the show, to give you guys that are not based in New York City the true flavor and flair for what's going on here. But today is a really powerful day. I don't know how many of you understand that today is the equinox. So this marks a very pivotal moment as we shift to a new season. And in a few moments, we're going to do a really powerful practice to help get everyone aligned with these energies and in their full power. It's a day that marks true balance, too. It's equal parts day and night. So the meditation will work with all of that. And we have so much in store for you. A lot of really fun interviews. We've got, we'll maybe show you in a few moments, we've got an artist that's going to be drawing and creating live and just all sorts of amazing things. But before we get to that, I wanted to share with everyone why doing Living Live and a little bit about me and my background. I started out as a national champion athlete, and while that was my entire upbringing and entire life, and it was very ingrained in me that that was my identity and that was who I was, there was a deeper part inside of me that knew that wasn't my true truth. You know, like that deeper area inside of you where when you go down there, you're like, I don't know if this is really me. So after college, I started to explore things. I did become a Division I college coach, and I was an advanced certified personal trainer. And while those were great experiences, it did confirm this just isn't it. This just isn't my thing. So thankfully, my first divine intervention was somewhat mild. Universe sent in a client to the gym I was training at in Florida, and he said, you should be my radio show co-host. So got plucked out of the gym, got put into a radio studio, and I was like, oh, this is feeling good. This is feeling more right. So I became an AM Talk radio show host and then a #1 rated hip hop morning show host, believe it or not. And that was an incredible time, a lot of adventures, but I also felt like I couldn't express myself in my full power just only being behind a mic. And those of you who are here and know me, you know I'm pretty exuberant and colorful. And so I thought, okay, I need to switch to television. So I moved out here to New York City a long time ago, and it was a journey. I was an executive producer's personal assistant. I was an AP on crime shows. And during all this time of producing, I was also auditioning and finally landed a talk show job. It was a wonderful national daytime talk show. It was great, but wasn't in production very long. And it was at that time I had my huge awakening. And that was obviously what changed everything for me. And that one moment in time, my entire life changed. Who I knew myself to be changed. The relationship I had been in for almost 2 decades, all of what I thought was true with that changed. What I knew planet Earth to be totally changed. It was truly one of those stories you hear where in 1 second, your life gets turned upside down. So I started my quest to just heal myself, because when that veil lifted and I saw who I really was, I was like, okay, Alyson, you got some work to do, sister. And so I dove in and I started working. Thank God I have psychotherapists in my family. So they were on speed dial, and thankfully they just said, anytime you need a session, call, and I did. And I worked with other shamans and leech therapists, you name it. I just wanted to heal. And it was during that year and some change where that truth, why I'm really here on planet Earth this lifetime, started to come alive. The powers inside of me, the ancient wisdom, the gifts inside of me, they started we all have these light grids, these energy grids that run through us. And when it was time and my soul was ready, they started to flicker and ping on. And I started to remember, and visions and the shaman in me started coming out. And that was about 4.5 years ago. And it's been a really trippy ride ever since. I now tote rattles around with me everywhere I go. And of course, love crystals. And before I do the meditation, I'll give you guys a little smudging with some sacred essences from the Amazon. So my point in sharing all of that journey with you is that this is a very meaningful moment to me. And I want to thank all of you here and everyone at home for watching, because it's truly this moment right now marks a very full circle moment for me, having been in the industry, but all of those jobs in the industry before were before my awakening, before I came to understand my true power and knowing who I really was. And this is the first show that I've hosted since remembering that I'm a shaman and being in my full power. So thank you all for taking time out of your evening to spend it here with me in this really pivotal moment. So I think it would be appropriate, even though it goes against production standards of keeping the show ever so lively and animated, I think for this show, it would be meaningful to just do a brief guided meditation. So everyone, just go ahead and close your eyes for a second. And I'm going to light some Palo Santo incense. And just begin now to go inside yourself. Let yourself drop inside, land inside, and just begin to connect with your breath. And as you begin to connect with your breath, on those long, slow inhales in through the nose, just draw in, invite in, and know how worthy you are of receiving in a beautiful, glowing, divine white light. And as you envision this beautiful, shining, glowing white light entering in on the inhale, just allow your entire insides to become blanketed and held and filled with this light. Allow it to wash through your muscles. Allow it to stream through your blood. Allow it to tend to your bones, your eyes, your hair. Just truly track inside of yourself and allow this powerful, cleansing white light to just wash every bit inside of you. And begin to exhale longer and slower out through an open mouth. And on those exhales, start to ask yourself, what am I ready to finally let go of? And allow that to be released on those exhales, letting it go with honor and thanks for the lessons it provided you, but just let it go. the hits and the answers and clarity that you're receiving on what you're ready to let go of, those answers are coming to you for a reason. It's because it's time. So just let it go. And on your next exhale, if you even want to stick your mouth open, stick out your tongue, just give yourself full permission to release. Let's just become comfortable, total family mode here. 2 more like that, where you draw in that new energy, that new supportive energy that wants to come inside, and then letting go the way it feels right to your soul on that exhale. Good. Yeah, there you go. And on your next inhale, I want you to allow that new light to fill your auric field. It's this energetic field that surrounds you. It extends anywhere from 2 to 4 feet out, all the way around you. It's like an energetic egg that encloses you. It's your protective orb. And I want you to allow that new, glowing, shining, supportive light to begin to wash into your aura, and just bathe and float and filter and wash all the way around you. So you feel this illumination that is you beginning to fill and radiate all around you as well. And lastly, as we are on this powerful equinox day, ask these powerful energies to come in and provide to you whatever medicine, visions, or guidance that it wants to provide to you now. Just call it in and invite the equinox medicine in. Ask that it fill you and guide and support your journey on. As you shift into this new season, these new energies will now be with you to guide you and empower you with this change. And just a couple more deep breaths to truly allow the equinox support to become one with you and fully harmonized with you. And you'll feel when that has totally taken place. And just take your time with that. Become fully activated in this light, truth, and equinox power. And when that has happened, taking your time, you can gently return to the space and open your eyes. Sacred scent to honor everyone and bless the space. Okay, everyone's back. All right, so let's just raise our arms up. Just stretch, integrate in that full power. Let yourself come back alive a little bit. Shimmy, shimmy, Cocoa Puffs a little bit. Move it around, hips swivel. That feels good. Okay, we are now activated equinox power. So it is now time to invite my first guest. Cameron Diaz is a fan. She loves to share her body love tips. She's an actress, a mega biz babe, and so much more. Please welcome Abby Miller. Come on up.
Thank you.
Hello, Queen.
Hi.
Thank you for being with me.
Thank you. It's such an honor. This is so fun.
And welcome back to New York City.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So Abby flew in a couple days ago. She is quite the global jet setter, but is it safe to say your base is mainly in Kansas City right now?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And we have a lot to get into because you're a very multifaceted divine creature. Mm-hmm. So with her, I just knew she was the best first interview because we can talk money and business. We can talk health and wellness. She's gone through some really, courageous stuff in your life that you've had to overcome. We can talk love, all sorts of good stuff. But I'm curious, what is the scene? I mean, here we're merging shamanism with a television show. What is happening in Kansas City? Can you give us the lowdown on where the conscious vibe is at there?
Oh, it's all over, Casey. Kansas City's cool. So I recently moved back. Oh, actually, that's several years ago. But it is awesome. Yes. The foodie scene is incredible. The yoga scene has exploded. I should be like a Kansas City spokesperson. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you are. And you tell everyone about what your work looks like a bit there in Kansas City.
Yeah, totally. So I'm based in Kansas City, which is where my family is. And then I work globally. So Kansas City is just like the best little home base because it's this really small city and I'm near family. And like I said, it's such fertile ground for creativity. I feel like you have an event, people come, right? It's just so supportive. And then my work there looks like events. So I'm a yoga teacher and I do BizBabe events. So we gather, we call it movers, makers, entrepreneurs, and shakers. So we gather all of those people and just connect. I think when you work for yourself or you have a side hustle or something like this, anything that you're the engine behind, it can be lonely. It's deeply inspiring and hopefully you're passionate about it, but it's a lot of time on a laptop and spreadsheets. So I think just having a pep rally of people uniting is so important. And I feel that way about business. I feel that way about yoga. I feel that way about meditation. Just the power the power and energy we get from a group.
And I love hearing, I had a feeling that you were going to say Kansas City is on point like that. Mm-hmm. I had heard whisperings that to say that it's at the forefront would be a stretch probably, but it's up there in terms of cities in the country that really embrace this kind of work. Yeah. And you see it in a lot of different places. So I think it only makes sense. But you're from there originally, right?
Give or take. Yeah, actually I was born in Indiana.
Oh, okay. Hey, fellow Hoosiers, any of you out there? We're from the Midwest.
I can put an accent on if you want it.
Well, then I went to college at the University of Alabama. So, and it was funny to me when I ran cross country and track down there, and they had the audacity to tell me that I had the accent. No.
Yeah.
I was like, are y'all kidding me right now? My Indiana accent but you can't hear your own accent.
Right.
People still tell me that I have one and I can't hear it. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about, Kansas City has got the stamp of consciousness approval. I want to take it back to when you were 18 years old. Ooh. Let's get in a time machine and transport ourselves. Oh, I see you. You are a sprightly little thing. Okay, I see it. And will you share with us, because I was fascinated when I first learned this about you, what happened when you were 18 and coming here and that whole fantastical journey?
Yeah. Totally. Okay. So 18. So in my teenhood, I was literally dancing between competitive figure skating and the performing arts. So I was doing both, navigating both of those and just loving them. And then at 18, I decided, okay, I'm going for it. And in Kansas City, there's actually a pretty modest but thriving theater community. So I had an agent, I was doing commercials and plays. So by 14, so by 18, I was kind of ready to try it out. And my dad actually, amazing, talked me out of going to college. And he said, why don't you go to New York and try to swim with the big fish? Why don't you try it for a year, see how it goes? If it's horrible, come back and apply to school.
This is great. What's your dad's name?
He's amazing. Hi, Gary.
Gary, what's up?
My mom was involved too. She's great.
Hey,
Hi,
shouts to Chris and Gary.
Yeah, they were amazing. I had actually applied to all these schools. I had been visiting them. And this is also in the performing arts industry where, obviously if you're going to become a surgeon, you got to go to med school. but I had already been in the industry. So I just moved to New York City. Just tried it out.
Yeah, she just tried it out, and what happened?
Got lots of work, and it was great. But I was cast in a Broadway tour of Grease, the musical. So I was the youngest woman in the cast, and it was awesome. So we were cast out of New York City, and then we toured all over Southeast Asia. So at 18, I was moving to New York, and then by 19, I was hanging out in hotels in Seoul, Korea.
So that was a really successful leap of faith. And do you remember any of Grease, I didn't remember that it was that production, but that's mega dance energy. Yeah. Were there jazz hands involved?
Oh, yeah, hand drive. Oh, right. I did 99 performances. So I could teach you, that could be part 2 if you guys want to learn the hand drive. Yeah.
This is so great. And can you give us the inside scoop? I've always been curious. Oh, another New York City moment. Wow, we've got some action outside, folks. If we could have had an investigative reporter on the team, we could send him outside to do some additional reporting for us. Oh, you know what? The UN is in session. I have a theory. There's a lot of dignitaries around town, and I bet they're escorting someone special. So, yeah, the siren just confirmed I was right. So I want to know, is being in a Broadway production of that magnitude, that level, is it as tough as I would imagine it to be? I mean, of course, it's fantastic, and you can now say that for the rest of your life, but it's not all just jazz hands.
No, absolutely not. So it was such a profound experience for me because I, at age 8, decided I want to be on Broadway. That was what I wanted to do, and poured my heart into it. And so when I got this show, I just thought, I have made it. Mm-hmm. I have made it. And I got this show, and it was kind of a perfect storm in some ways, that there was a lot of negativity. But it's just that classic experience where you get the thing you've wanted, and you get there, and you're like, I'm sleeping in a hotel. I can't control my flights. I can't control my bus schedule. You're waking up early. Our days off, it's very glamorous. We did a lot of modeling when we were there. And so our days off, we'd be doing photo shoots and all of this. So I have all these sparkly photos, but the truth is, I'm not sleeping. Everybody's partying into the wee hours of the night. It was very counterculture for who I was. And that was actually kind of coming back to a lot of what you were sharing about your story, is I loved the work. I so deeply loved the work, but the lifestyle was so challenging. Mm-hmm. And so it was this clash for me of, oh my gosh, I love this, I want to do this. I'm being paid to sing and dance, how freaking cool. We, this will date me, but we performed in a stadium. We were the show after the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, yes, I've made it. The Backstreet Boys were here last week. It's fine. So again, so many fun, fancy things, right? But at night I was lonely. At night I felt like I miss my family. This isn't what I want to do. And so to be at that level and realize this is it. This is what it's going to look like. And I still have dear friends in the industry. I love it. Every time I'm in New York, I see a show, peace and love, no judgment to anyone who's still doing it. It's amazing. But for me, it was a real wake-up call. And before I did the tour, I had found yoga. And I was so smitten with it. I remember this is pre-streaming videos. I had this DVD of one yoga class, and the girl I was on tour with probably thought I was psycho because I would go in our closet in the hotel and lock the door and just be doing this little yoga video.
Why would you go in the closet?
It was the only place I could have quiet. It was a large closet.
That's the true literal definition of being a closeted spiritual hippie person. You were in the closet doing yoga.
I never thought about that. You're so right. That is okay. So then I came out of the closet.
When did that occur?
Well, every day before the show, because I had to go to the show. But yeah, and that's, I don't know if you want me to share that. It's a crazy long story, but I could tell the Cliff Notes.
Get them Cliff Notes.
Yeah, the Cliff Notes is I wanted to break my contract. I wanted to break my contract, and there's a hefty fee, and it's really looked down upon in the industry, of course, to just leave.
Right, because you're so blessed to have that contract.
Oh my gosh, there's like a joke in theater that the auditioning is the work and the job is your vacation, you know, or the show is your vacation. And I wanted out. I wanted out. And we had this crazy detour. We were like in Sweden, and then we had an issue with our plane. We made an emergency landing. We ended up in Austria, which delayed us about 20 hours. And on the opening night, I like tripped, like my ankle just rolled, and I was wearing flats.
I feel like this was a subconscious act on her part to get out of the contract.
Dun, dun, dun. Well, it's pretty, I mean, I've been saying this for the past few days as well about be careful what you wish for. Because I said it to my family. I was like, I probably even said the words, I wish I could just get injured. Whoa, I mean, I remember just like, how could I get out of this?
Without having to pay the hefty fine?
Yeah, and have it look poorly upon my commitment to the industry. And so my ankle snapped, so I'm like rushed to a hospital in Malaysia. I still to this day don't really know what the diagnosis was. So I'm doing the show. So this happens, right? They medicate me. There's a few days of me not having to do the show. They put a cover in, and then they made me in a wheelchair. I had to sit in the wings and still sing my parts. Basically, they refused to fire me, so I had to sit in the wings off stage and sing while everyone else is performing. And so then I started to get my wisdom teeth. So my jaw starts to swell up. There's about 10 days of this. Incredible. They're abscessed and impacted. So I started to get this like jowl, and it hurt to sing. I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair, and then it hurt to sing.
I wish. Do you have any pictures of this?
I probably could find something.
Oh my gosh.
I got emergency dental work in New York. Yeah, that's the rest of the story. So anyway, and at this point, I'm like, if they will not fire me when I can't walk, I can't go on stage, and I could sing, but it was deeply painful. And I just remember that night being like, I can't do it. I'm going to have to quit. And then the next morning, the tour got shortened.
Wow.
It got shortened. They're like, you're flying home tomorrow. Wow. Just immediate. And I was, hallelujah, amen. And then I flew back to New York and got emergency dental work. But I think, something that I noticed in my life, this pattern, is if you don't listen to your deepest knowing, like your body's going to make you listen.
Yes, and they call that shaman sickness.
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah. So that was happening to me too before my awakening when I was in that long-term relationship. The suffering level inside of me and all around me just continued to grow and grow and grow. I was having panic attacks. I was having eczema really bad all over my body. And it was after my awakening, I realized it was because I was denying my truth, my purpose, my gifts. And it's your soul shouting out, trying to get your attention. So I feel like this is, speaking of that kind of thing, I wanted to touch on, if you're okay with it. I know one of your more challenging obstacles that you have had to try to transcend is what led you to teaching body love, but what was occurring before that. Are you willing to share a little bit about, okay.
Yeah. Well, so I struggled with eating as a small person, probably as long as I can track, and was anorexic for probably 8 years. And that was deeply tied into my work. Mm-hmm. I feel like if you're a lawyer and you're emaciated, people are going to say, get that girl a burrito. But if you're a dancer, people are like, you look so great. And so it's encouraged by agents and all of this. So I really struggled with it. Mm-hmm. I struggled with it. And so after the tour, when it got canceled, I was like, I'm done. I am done. I had just signed with a big new agent. I called them. I was like, I quit. I shaved my head. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm not wearing makeup anymore. Like, middle finger, I'm done. Yeah. And to me, it wasn't just about the work. It was about who I thought I had to be. And I think that if we spend our lives trying to be who we think others want us to be, mm-hmm. we forget to ask ourselves who we are. And again, shaman sickness, it came to me in a really big way. And I'm a Scorpio, so I had to kind of like go big or go home with it. Mm-hmm. Subtlety is not a strength of mine. And so I mean, I could talk at length about that. But for me, and that was part of the connection with yoga and my love for yoga, was you're connecting with who you are. Mm-hmm. You don't do yoga to like kick your leg in the air, be fancy and jazz hands. Mm-hmm. For me, it's about self-care. And I think especially as women, we have so few practices that focus on like, who are you today? Like, how's your body right now? And just celebrating that and being kind to ourselves. And that doesn't mean you can't also get sweaty. You can't also challenge yourself. You can't also have all these goals, but just like, do you know what I'm saying?
Totally. Yeah. That's been such a theme for myself and a lot of my friends. We've been talking about it all week is, what are we doing for self-honor, self-care? How are we honoring ourselves to replenish our batteries? And that, I think to me, that's one of the ultimate signs of self-respect, and knowing you're having self-worth is taking that time to do those kinds of practices. Yeah. So how long did it take you? How did you begin to overcome that eating disorder? Was it treatment, therapy? What worked for you?
It was yoga. It was yoga. It was having a space. I think because of my whole life with the skating and dance, everything, like all my habits and practices were like, yes, no, black, white. This is how you're supposed to look. This is where your leg goes. This is what your line is supposed to be like. Someone else had to validate me. Whereas yoga, and I studied at Laughing Lotus. Has anybody been? Yeah, I love them. I love them. And it's so playful. It was about just like, have fun. Have fun with your body. And for me, it was like this light bulb, and I love dancing, I love movement, but no one had ever asked me, like, how does it feel? And it was just this like unraveling for me of the obsessive, relationship with food, and all of this I think I started to ask just that basic question of just really start to look at, why am I doing this? What is this all about? And it took years. It took years to kind of loosen my grip, and I'm fully recovered and healed and so grateful, and I didn't know the day would come.
Amen. Let's do a a cheers with matcha full for that. Yes. To overcoming, those really deep personal challenges and to alleviating shaman sickness.
Totally. And for me, it's looking at what you subscribe to. Like, I describe it as if you move into a new apartment, sometimes you get the person before you's mail. You'll get like a random Victoria's Secret catalog or, something you didn't subscribe to, but because you're in the building, you get it. I kind of think that with our lives, that we show up in this plane and we're like subscribing to all these things. It's our cultural beliefs. It's what our parents tell us. It's the way
it's what the TV tells you, exactly. But we're emitting conscious rattling vibes, like, that, yeah. But yes, all of that.
And a big part of that for me too was the wake up of, wait, do I want to subscribe to this this beauty norm that I actually like? I don't look at my friends and view them this way. I don't judge people this way. I see beauty in everyone. And so it was just a flip. It was there was not really a lot of physiology to like a diet plan or this or that. It was totally a belief system swap. And if a thought came up, I would think, I don't believe that. I don't want to believe that. And life's too short.
You started telling a different story, because that's a lot of what all of this stuff is just stories we tell ourselves. And at any given moment, like right now, we can change. Yeah. Right now. And you did it. So that's amazing. So let's switch gears a little bit. She's a mega brilliant boss babe. And I have called her before and I'm like, how do I do this? What are your thoughts on this? She really is the go-to for a lot of wellness consciousness entrepreneurs. They seek you out because you're super successful and you know what to do. So when did you realize you were also really smart business-wise?
Well, being an actress, I've always been freelance or self-employed, right? So you just kind of learn. You just learn to navigate. I ran my own company in 2008 and started from there to work outside of the performing arts industry. And I think being a creative mind, it's very easy for me to like enter Vata land and like never touch the ground.
Crystal land. Let's go up here. Yeah. It's sparkly.
Let me pay my rent with this incense.
Yes.
Yeah. Who was I saying something the other day? I said, Om does not pay the rent.
Yeah.
Doesn't pay the rent.
Such a balance. Speaking of equinox and balance, like that left brain, right brain, healer, human, business, entrepreneur with being a practitioner. There's so many flip-flops our lobes in our brain have to go through.
Insane.
Yeah. So I want to know in a second what your most prosperous business decision has ever been. But I'll let you marinate on that. And I would like for you to offer any tips to anyone. I imagine there's a lot of entrepreneurs in the audience and watching at home. Is there a tip you can give that's just like saved you time, allowed you to de-stress? Like what's an easy, practical business tip that they can implement?
Okay. 2 things. The first thing is create systems for yourself. So that's how I got into business coaching. I coach creatives in mostly the wellness industry. I do have a few clients who have other endeavors, but for me, it's like if you have your own thing going on, or you're working for an amazing company, people are showcasing your talent, right? And maybe your talent is creativity. But if you're working on your own, you don't have someone saying this is due by this day. This is creating the structure for you. So I think if you're creative and the creativity is like the fun part, create systems. So I'm such a nerd for time batching, goal setting, all of these tools that help kind of like, they're the compass for the work you do.
Do we have to know how to do spreadsheets? Because I still can't do an Excel spreadsheet. For systems to work, what do we need for a system?
Oh yeah, well, let's talk. Call me. My cards are over here and here. But I mean, I'll give you a really simple thing I do. Every Monday morning, and whatever your Monday is, I sit down. If there's time, I usually meditate. And I kind of just like check in with my professional goals for the week. I kind of check in with what do I want to do? How do I want to feel? And we're going to kind of touch on this in a little bit. I have some questions for you guys. And then I just do this like total creative brain dump. I just sit with paper. I write down every little thing I think of doing, whether it's buy more paper clips or launch a website. Literally just like, bleh, I write everything down. I just get it all out there. And then from there, it's like once I've had that kind of creative brain dump, then I start to prioritize them in order of importance and urgency. And I only let myself choose 15 things.
For the week?
For the week. Okay. If it's 16, you don't make the cut. You're next week. And that's huge for me. And then, does anyone use the productivity planner? Do you guys know this?
Oh, I do know this. I do this thing where, and it's actually been really effective, where you only let yourself work in 20-minute. Yes.
It's called the Pomodoro method.
Yes. I'm obsessed with it, and it really works. So give a little cliff note.
Yes. Okay. Well, I did not create this, but the Pomodoro method of working is it's 20 minutes on and then 2 to 5 minutes off. So I work with a timer, and also like deep work versus shallow work. So deep work is I'm creating a course, I'm designing something, I'm strategizing flights, I'm doing something that like if somebody talks to me, I have to start all over again. Yeah. Shallow work is like an email here, a thing here, a task there. So oh no, now I forgot what we were saying.
The 25 minutes on.
Yes. Okay, so when I need to do the deep work, my phone goes on airplane mode. Like ideally, I'm just like all distractions off, and then you just set the timer for 20 minutes, and you do one task for 20 minutes. And if you finish the task early,
then you go to number 2.
Yeah. You move on.
It sounds so simple, but I started doing this. I'm friends with a productivity expert who writes all these articles, and he taught me this, and it's a game changer.
It's amazing because you're like, oh, I only have to work for 20 minutes. I got this, and you kind of there's like this. Yeah. I don't know. There's a productivity that happens.
Well, the other thing that happens too is when you let yourself after that 20 minutes, then that 5-minute break, I breathe, I drink water, and it lets your amygdala, if you don't take those breaks, your amygdala gets fried out. Yeah. Fried. And that's when you start to not make good decisions. Yeah. And that's where it gets like sloppy and ugly. Okay. So most prosperous business decision you've ever made.
Ooh. I mean, my first thought is to lead yoga retreats. Kind of, I think you had asked a question earlier about like, what are my top 2 business tips? And I just think it's believe in yourself. If you can't believe it, no one else will. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to lead retreats. I've always loved to travel, and I wanted to do this, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have, I just had this like little seed of a dream, and just decided I'm going to lead a yoga retreat.
And the first one was
Nicaragua, right, with Ksenia, with our dear friend. Yeah. Hey girl. But the cliche, if you build it, they will come. You just have to believe in it. And
you're a super genius at it. Like she goes to Morocco and Greece and all the time, and she sells out her retreats and like so fast. I'm like, what are you doing? How do you do that? How do you do that?
Yeah, well,
tell us.
Well, so there is a lot of strategy behind it. I mean, I think I'm super blessed. I have really fabulous humans in my life who want to do yoga with me, which is like such an honor. And then it's also the basics of marketing. You know, people can't come if they don't know about it. So I think it's to share things. I think something that I see a lot of mistakes with my client, or not mistakes, but like learning opportunities with my clients who do similar work is they launch the thing or they make it known like 3 days before the deadline. They're like, oh, come to my thing. And it's like if the person with a new Instagram algorithm even saw your post, they'd have 2.5 days to decide. So I think it's to just get comfortable sharing what you're doing, you know, and you don't even have to ask people to come, but just say, hey, I'm doing this event at Doing Living. I'm so excited. This is the date and time. And I think it's getting more comfortable with sharing because the people who don't want to come won't listen, and the people who do want to come will. So that's kind of the basis of it. I have a lot of launch steps and strategies, which actually, if anyone's interested, my friend and I just wrote an ebook.
Ksenia again.
Yeah. So it's
called the Biz Babe Workbook.
Yeah. The Biz Babe Workbook. It's 98-page workbooks. They're separated into 5 different chapters, and one of them is all on how to launch and sell out a retreat. So probably not time to go into it all today, but there are 4 specific steps that I take for that.
Amazing. Okay, so we're going to do a surprise little thing really quick before I get into my last category with you, but it's rapid fire. So just like, you know, the first thought or word, you know, that comes to mind when I say aliens.
Scary.
Do you believe in them?
Not sure.
What if I told you I was an alien?
I mean, aren't we all?
Yes. Okay. Crystals.
Love them.
What's your favorite one?
I just love amethyst. I always put it in the corners of my suitcase when I travel because I feel like it makes everything protected.
It is a very protective stone. I didn't realize it, but when I was engaged before, I was insistent. This was before my awakening, and I didn't understand the healing properties of amethyst, but I was insistent that my engagement ring had to have amethyst in it. And I later learned it's a stone of sobriety and a protective stone and a very divine. I was like, oh, I was already on that level trying to help things out. Yes. Tarot card readings.
I'm into it.
Do you have your own card deck?
I don't.
Well, I am really surprised about that, actually.
That's funny. Tarot's one thing actually. I'm into it, but I'm open to it, but I haven't. I've never done it. Like, I've received readings.
I would have figured you had a couple of decks on you. And when's the last time you had a reading?
Oh gosh, probably at least a year. Okay. I think I need a reading.
Fascinating. I've got my Goddess Isis card deck in the back. Past lives.
Ooh, I feel like all your answers I'm so unknown. All your questions I'm so unknown
That's
about.
Fine.
Yeah.
Do you believe in past lives?
I believe in some type of reincarnated energy. I believe in something about energy returning, you know, with some ancestors. So I would say yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've had some pretty trippy visions. One is like really kind of nerve-wracking to share, but no judgment. Oh gosh.
No judgment, bubble.
I'm like, because as people are still waking up to the awareness of all of these aspects of like planet Earth and all this stuff, there can be judgment. But you know, in these various thousands of lifetimes, I've been a shaman and a healer in many. I've seen myself trekking through the desert as a shaman and the Bedouin culture and ancient Egyptian culture. But I also had a vision in a past life that I actually killed my husband. And I was really tripped out when I first saw that. And I was like, what does that mean? What do I think about myself? And then I was like, oh, Alyson, chill out. That was like 500 lifetimes ago. And, you know, but it made me realize my personal belief that we've all been on both sides. Like, I think one of the reasons I've been a healer for so many lifetimes is, you know, maybe because it's that balance of understanding both and being a woman and being a man and just all those different aspects. Okay, enough about that story. Okay, my last question. Was that TMI? I don't know. My last question for you are animal totems and shamanic journeying.
Oh, well, I love them. You're the queen of them.
Do you know what your spirit animal is?
I've always been drawn to foxes. Okay. I had an incident I won't go into great detail, but I'm not super private about it. It's just a very long story where I was sexually assaulted when I was in India. And when I came back from that trip, I just was obsessed with foxes. I wanted a fox tattoo. I was just like, so like, because to me, they represent cleverness and getting themselves out of a tricky situation. So yeah, I would say foxes. I feel drawn to their smarts.
Yeah. And it's interesting. We all have one core power animal that's with us since birth. And then depending upon what we're going through in life, different animal totems will come in to assist us, give us the medicine and messages and guidance that we need. So my core power animal is a black panther, but after my awakening moment, bear, frog, and deer all came in to assist in my journey. So I think it makes sense that you started when that moment happened for you, which is a very pivotal moment in your life, that you started to notice a certain animal medicine coming in to help you with that specific thing, because that really is how it works. Okay, so last category before we wrap this interview up, I want to talk about love, because I don't want to embarrass him, but he's in the audience. Hi. And I think it's just great to chat about it briefly, because you are a really powerful manifester. You've created your dream life in so many different ways, including your romantic partnership. So, any tips?
I just heard that as manifester, like hyphenated.
Oh, very smart. That's that marketing genius in her.
Exactly. Hashtag. Yeah, well, that's my boyfriend. He's great. He said I wasn't supposed to talk about him today, but too late.
Do we have a little bit of? I started it. I don't know. Don't get mad at her.
Well, I will say that when I met you, I saw Sam from behind. He was working in a garden, and before I could even really make out what he looked like, there was like this cord that like drew me to him. And so I feel like there's this common theme with business, with yoga, with healing, with all of the things I've been through and experienced, that back to listening to my gut, listening to my intuition. And you meet people every day, but there was something that day I was having lunch with a friend, and I just was like, I need to talk to him, like he was a block away. Wow. So there was that same calling, and I think that's the same calling that tells you have to write that book, or the same calling that's like book the flight or something like this. It all comes from the same place.
That deep soul guidance, that ancient wisdom that lives within us. And I was just sharing it in a talk that I was involved in last night. That's my compass, moving from that place of soul awareness and soul guidance. And my favorite quote is, "Truth is a pathless land." Yeah, that's nice, right? So this was in London, where the cord...
This was in the U.S. Oh. Yeah, we were in Kansas City. He was visiting, yeah.
Oh, he was just a passerby?
He was just a passerby.
And did you approach him?
Well, actually, so we were at this cafe, and this is Kansas City. It's a smaller city. So I asked my friend who owns the cafe if she happened to know anything about the gardener across the street. And randomly, his parents owned one rental property, and they were the cafe owner's landlord. Whoa. So I will never forget. You'll love this. She, literally without even blinking, she's like, Sammy's 27. He's British, and he's an Aries.
You're like, oh, and I'm sure you felt really good about all this.
Okay, great. And then I asked if he was single, and she said, "Oh, that's actually the one thing I don't know." So she left her cafe to go talk to him in the garden. And meanwhile, I'm like sliding down my seat. And she came back and said, "He wants to meet you." And she had told you what? That you want to be crazy. She was shameless. Yeah, and then the rest is history.
I love it. And you guys have been together for quite a while, and you've lived in London for a long time together, and you've just been doing and you guys fly out again to London tomorrow, and you're just quite the jet-setting little power couple. But I'm so happy for you both. I'm so happy to have met you today. I've heard so much about him. So thank you for being just so open, and all the work that you do. I mean, this show is all about featuring top visionaries making positive changes for the planet. And I really feel like you're the embodiment of that. Just all the ways you let yourself grow and evolve, and the way you're of service and your light and your kindness. Just, I feel like you are the perfect representative of what I want this show to be about. So thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And before you go, do you want to guide them through the little envisioning exercise?
So it is my belief that it is not hard to get what you want. It's really effing hard to know what you want. And I think if you know, I got like an amen on that one. That was good. Yeah. It's like, everybody did like a little. So, and I think that if you really know what you want and you don't get it, it's not yours to have. Mm-hmm. But I do think that, kind of back to the systems, back to the productivity, back to the goal setting, I think we have to spend more time, like I said, not becoming who we're supposed to be, but asking who we are. So I have little visioning sheets that I'll give to you guys on your way out. They're like little
homework,
living homework. And so, yeah, I thought I would read it to you. So this is a little visioning sheet. So
do we need to close our eyes or no?
Sure, you can close your eyes. Yeah, close your eyes. So I want you to think about what you love about yourself. And notice if there's judgment that comes up, like, oh gosh, I shouldn't think that about me. I'm so arrogant for loving that about myself, or something like this. So I want you to really drop any narrative about it being good or bad or weird or anything, and just truly, what do you like about you? And then what do you love about how you show up in the workspace? What do you love about your skills and your talents? And the next question is, what matters most to you right now? And you can keep your eyes closed, but I'm actually curious if anybody just wants to say their answer to that question.
What was the question again?
What matters most to you right now? Family?
Shout it out.
Yeah. Telling the truth. Paying student loans. Hey, girl. Stability. One more. What matters most to you?
I was thinking family, love, connection. The family piece, for different reasons, has really become more front and center for me. And I'm just letting myself get more vulnerable and go deeper with my family.
I think what matters the most to me right now is having fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's so easy like to spend time working and planning, but I'm just really trying to have more fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question, you can resume the eye closed or open, it's up to you. But what do you want to be? This is a very big question. It could be, I want to be happy. You could want to be a personal trainer. You could want to be friendly to strangers, right? There's no right answer. What do you want to be? And so this one you can think on for a moment. What are you willing to let go of to become that? Because it's my belief that like something has to give. So what's something you're willing to let go of to be who and what and how you want to be? So I'm going to open this for answers. If you want to share, I know that's a big one.
Who's letting go of what? Yes, Anila, shout it out.
What did she say?
You said your childhood.
Yeah.
Totally.
Anyone else have an awareness of something that they need to just with honor release?
Sometimes it's small. Sometimes it's like, I have to let go of sleeping until 8 so that I can write this book I'm going to get up at 6:30. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's not necessarily an emotional thing. It can be a logistical thing, right? I'm going to let go of hanging out on Friday nights so I can do this thing. Or I'm going to let go of being productive so I can hang out on Friday nights, right? It's, could be those things. Okay. So now, close your eyes. So now I want you to tap into, how do you want to feel the rest of this year? How do you want to feel in your relationships? How do you want to feel riding the subway? How do you want to feel when you're dancing, when you're eating, when you're booking plane tickets, when you're at work, leaving work? What do you want the predominant feeling to be? Like if you were able to actually choose and be like, this quarter, right? The remaining October, November, December is the quarter where I felt blank. What would that be? So if anyone wants to share, shout it out.
Full of life, love, joy.
Full of life, love, and joy. I'll second that.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Bring in the freedom from Burning Man. Yeah. You're based here in the city? Okay. You just went to this past Burning Man? It was incredible for you? Cool. Nice. Any other people that went to Burning Man this year? Oh, you're the solo burner in the house. Okay. Okay.
Yay. So that's where I want to close is maybe you had a feeling and you felt shy about sharing it, or maybe you don't quite know, which is why I wanted to give you guys these sheets so you can kind of go home, light a candle, get a little bevy, and write on this. And that's another thing that I do on Mondays, on my Monday morning, is I have a guiding word. I actually have a couple, and this is actually based on a book by Danielle Laporte, this whole kind of system, so I don't take credit for it, the desire map, yeah. And just kind of checking in, because if all I wanted is to have fun, but I noticed that most of my time is spent doing Excel spreadsheets, which are currently not fun for me, there would be a dissonance. So I would need to do a little audit about how I'm spending my time and how can I hire someone to do my spreadsheets so I can go do the fun, there's a thing.
And you have to trust in that transition. Like, I think that's one of the biggest pieces and keys is like trusting that this new way can happen and that it can be great. I think there's that little blippy gap in between knowing what you need to change and then like trusting in the new way.
Yeah, that makes me think of the quote, I think it's Howard Thurman, don't ask yourself what the world needs, ask yourself what makes you come alive, because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. So I don't see this as selfish or self-indulgent. It's like when you're lit up, you're friendlier to stand next to on the subway, You're nicer to your kids, right? There's like a ripple effect for all of this.
And the world needs so much love right now, unity, compassion, connection, understanding. And this is one of the main things I say at all my events, all the talks, all the work I do. I say, you want to be of service to the planet, go inside and do the work yourself. Keep going in deeper, doing that powerful, courageous, awakening work, therapeutic work, whatever you want to call it, label it. When you tend to yourself and you have that bravery and courage to let yourself grow, see all aspects of yourself, shadow and light, as you open up in your full power, that's when your light and power radiates, that is felt, that is sent to the entire planet. So yeah, I'm all about like charities and I'm all about being of service in so many different ways. But my tip, the most powerful, is go within and do your own personal work. That's what shifts.
Yeah, and that's when we're powerful and able to give back, whether it's our time or resources or money or love. But I mean, for me, giving back is a huge part of the work I do. Like I give a portion of all my proceeds to an organization actually based in Kansas City that works to do relief for rape victims. And I couldn't do that if I didn't do the work I do, so it feels powerful. Yeah.
I think that's a great note to end on. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are so great. Thank you so much.
So
And yeah, and don't forget your Abby Miller doing living homework as you guys leave. And then real quick before we wrap up the show all together, I want to invite Ruthie up here. She, if you've been noticing, she has been creating this entire show. I haven't really peeked over yet, but she was an artist in action, and I'm going to see along with you guys what she's beginning to create. I just recently met Ruthie and heard so much about her work, and she's going to be with us on Sunday and explain to everyone what you are beginning to create.
Yes, so this is a mandala. Hi, everyone. And I work with this gorgeous, like, edible handmade paper. I have a drawing painting bag.
This paper is edible?
I just want to eat it because it's like so beautiful. Don't really eat it, but like if you want to pass it around and look.
Yeah, please. I'd love if you would pass that around. It's beautiful.
Tree-free Japanese and Thai and hemp, kozo bush pulp and hemp fibers and mango leaf and like oil poured on.
Where do you get this?
Utrecht or Blick, and they're not that expensive. Like they're gorgeous, and like I just love collaging it. And I've been working this into the mandalas, and it's like a beautiful way to work, especially if you are not really into painting or drawing, which I'm just like drawn to this more so now. But
Oh, I see now how the paper is like.
yeah, it's making the shape of a yantra, which is a balancing symbol that you'll see a lot in yoga. And it kind of has a T shape pointing to each of the 4 directions to help people to focus and balance. And then this flower of life design, I'm kind of working into the center, but just a seed of life. This is a beautiful sacred geometry that I work with a lot, and it kind of helps people to, connect to the oneness, which is sort of what my work is about. But it holds all other geometries within it. And on Sunday, I'm teaching a workshop called Dancing Mandala Workshop, and it's utilizing sacred art and movement and dance. And so the fact that she was just talking about dance, those art and dance are 2 of my gifts, and I feel, now that my kids are a little older, I'm able to share it more with people, and I'm really, really happy to do that. I had 3 babies within 2 years, and they brought me into this space.
And there they are. Can we get a shot of these magical, hi girls.
So glad that, they're old enough now that I can kind of share this with them, and it's not like all about the diaper changing. I don't mean to embarrass you guys, but
They're like snacking and chilling over in the beauty section.
they love it here. So, but anyway, I hope you'll join me on Sunday. This is sort of the debut of this class to more people. I work a lot with special needs and traumatic brain injury, creating mandalas and doing like movement before. I have a dance background, and I felt very like rigid, and I can connect to the eating disorder part with classical ballet. And then I started moving into yoga, West African dance, and movement that, the bigger you are, the more beautiful you are, because the more you have to shake. So I want to celebrate that with you Sunday by doing the dancing mandala first, the dance, the center point. The center point is that stillness within. And then the dance around the circumference is your life. It is your mandala. So sometimes that dance can feel like a hurricane. There are so many crazy things going on in the world right now, and sometimes that dance is joy, but it's kind of like seeing the bigger picture of your life and of who you are. And I get emotional when I talk about it because it's been my medicine and my healing. I also am a survivor of child sexual abuse from a babysitter, and I have never ever said that on like camera or anywhere in front of a group for a long time, but I just I want to validate, like, there's no accident that we're here together today, because I think we share a lot of very similar I guess shamanic but journey into the shadows, so no accidents. But in this dance, in this movement, prior to the mandala meditation, we're going to explore prana flow yoga, Pilates, ballet, floor bar, and then move into a beautiful dance from West Africa called Lamban, which is kind of the journey home, the journey to the inner light. And
Is there like one move we could do really quick? Just one? Let's try it.
like doing a soul retrieval of music and movement, and all of my I feel all of my teachers are present with me, like bringing back some of these things that I kind of let slide, and becoming a mother and giving so much and like not remembering that this is something I love and miss.
Yes, Queen. I'm so honored that you're bringing it into Doing Living Marketplace, and like, thank you for your power and courage and all the gifts that you're sharing with us. It's incredible what you've begun. I can't wait to see the finished creation. And then Sunday's just all about that, all that magic.
Juicy rhythm and joy, and also letting go of all the frenetic energy around the fall, which can get so crazy with back to school. And everybody's kind of like this. I know it's Vata season, that's dry and air, and
Get your moisturizers out. Slather it on. We're in New York City. It's windy and dry here.
but it takes a lot for the earth to go to sleep. So our bodies are kind of reacting to that, and I just want to I have a very earthy color here, and then I'm kind of bringing in the water, and I want to weave that into the dance and the movement.
Do you would it be okay if we do one movement? Okay, let's watch your matcha cups, but watch your matcha full, but let's rise up and let's do one little, what's this? It's West African.
This is Lamban.
Lamba. Let's get our lamba on.
Okay. So, and it's gentle, and my teacher used to say, think about bringing down the grace in this one. So the feet go like this. It's just, and 1, 2, 3, and
1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. We're lamba in. Yes. Oh, they're getting it. They are doing it over there. Work that. Yes. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. Okay, so now that we did our lamba, just one more quick little thing. So just take your seats one more time, and then we'll wrap it up, I promise. I want to call if Juliet is near. Is she around here? Is she around these parts? Julieta! Oh, I see you. Come on over, please. Can you come over for a second? So Juliet, she is the main founder of Doing Living and Doing Living Marketplace that we are sitting in. So just take a seat. I wanted to thank you for being you and all of your courage and just, oh my gosh, like there's no words. Truly. And thank you for allowing me to be in my power as a shaman and television host and having that all come alive here in the marketplace. So I just want to honor you for always letting me be my true full self. And is there just anything that you want to let people know about Doing Living, the mission, how they can help support everything we're doing? Doing Living existed before we landed in this spectacular landmark building on 57th Street. This building in itself became this living, breathing, conscious commerce, creative culture, community portal, but it's so much more. So whatever you want to share with anyone.
Well, we'll be continuing to pop up throughout the city and San Francisco and LA, and we've got some big plans for Doing Living. So creating, bridging the gap between conscious commerce, art, and community. So keep up with us, doingliving.com and Doing Living on Instagram, and follow our journey. And we're hosting a community dinner tomorrow at 7 p.m. All of you are invited if you're interested. We have In-Date sponsoring. And who else is sponsoring, Kelsey? The tablescaping, yeah, we're kind of prepping right now, so you can get a little gist of Eat Off Beat is going to be there, and the chlorophyll water. And coconut water, Zico, yeah. And oh my God, matcha. Thank you so much. I'm sure you're going to give them a shout out.
Yes. Thank you. So I just want to thank you all for being like patient and chilling in your meditation cushions for this fun show. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And I want to thank my amazing team that made this possible. I want to thank Matt and Jacob. And I want to thank Brian, and I want to thank Kent of Connect. You guys couldn't have done it without any of you. So thank you all. Stay tuned. I will be filming on a regular basis, and each time there will be surprise magical people willing to share their stories and most powerful tips that we can all learn and grow from and have fun with. So until next time, everyone, thank you so much. Bye. Rana.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm the founder of Matchful, and we're sponsoring Doing Living and drinking our emerald grade organic matcha drinks. Matchful is a proud sponsor, and we donate 1% of revenue to environmental nonprofits. Everything we source is 100% organic. Cheers. Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm the founder of Matchful, and we're sponsoring Doing Living
Cleanse and clear
drinking
your
our
space.
emerald grade organic matcha drinks. Matchful is a proud sponsor, and we donate 1% of revenue to environmental nonprofits. Everything we source is 100% organic. Cheers.